Hi there, Maureen from Color Me Positive, PLR, and I'm doing this tutorial on what we covered in our Zoom call yesterday about creating book covers in PowerPoint. Now, I usually do my book covers in Photoshop just because I'm really comfortable with Photoshop, but I do find PowerPoint quite easy to use. I'm not as proficient as some others might be in PowerPoint doing covers, but I get by. And I might start using it a little bit more because it is pretty quick to work with. So I'll show you what we did yesterday and how I created a book cover in PowerPoint. Okay? So first thing I want to do is I want to find out the dimensions of my cover. Now, I want to do a 6 by 9 by 120, and Amazon has this really neat setup calculator that'll give you the interior measurements for your book and your book covers, and you can download it. All it is an Excel file, okay, and pretty easy to do. Now I'm not going to save it because I already have it saved. I'm just going to open it from here. If you save it to your computer, and you'll have to unzip it and then click on the Excel file to open it. Okay. And normally when I pull, like, I'll just go to the Amazon Kindle cover creator and do that, and then I just have to pull the PNG into Photoshop, and that gives me the sizing, so I don't really need to do this, and this is a bit of an extra step. But here's the calculator. So I'm going to choose black ink and white paper, and it's already on 6 by 9. If it's not, just click inside and come over to the little down arrow and choose your size. And I'm going to put 120 pages. So you just need to double click in there and change the pages, right? And see here, they give you, just press enter for that. They give you a manuscript with no bleed, manuscript with bleed, if you're wanting to find out the dimensions of your manuscript. And here's the cover. So we're doing this one, so let's just click on cover, and there you go. It gives you the dimensions, okay, in centimeters, inches, and all that. I use inches, so I'm going to do this. So what I want, because I'm using PowerPoint, right, as one long, cover, I want the length, all right, the full length from here to here, because I'm going to create guides in PowerPoint for this, okay? So here it's 9.25, and down here I want the full width, which is going to be 12.52, all right, for a 6 by 9. Now, from way back, this is what I used to do to get the dimensions for my covers, was I would just add 0.25 to the length, no matter what size it was. So say you have an 8 by 10, it would be 10.25 for the length. And if the 8, you would add 0.125 on both sides, okay? So that would mean it would be 0.52. So what I do now when I'm creating the dimensions for my covers, if I'm doing it just in PowerPoint, that's what I'll do. I'll just add 0.25 to the length and 0.52 to the width. Okay, and that's exactly what comes up here, so it seems to work. Okay, and then you're going to want it, once you have that, and you know what you want to make your thing, you're going to come over here, go to Amazon. This is the cover templates. I'll put links below the video for these two things. So you're going to select your trim size, which is 6 by 9, 120 pages, and we're going to have white paper. And then you're going to download your cover template. Okay, now I've already done that, so I won't do it again. And inside that, you're going to find a PDF as well as a PNG file. So this is what we want to bring into PowerPoint, is the PNG file. Okay, it's just easier to work with, so I'm just going to click on it and drag it into PowerPoint. And now I want to do my custom slide size. So you can go to design and then go to custom slide size, and it'll bring this up. So remember, our width is 0.52 greater than double, right, this, because this is 6 by 9. So you're going to add the 612 plus 0.52. And then for the length, you're going to add 0.25, so it would be 9.25. Excuse me. And then just click, and there you go. It fits perfectly, right? Okay. So now that we have that done, we're going to create guides, because I don't like working with this in there, so I just want the guides. I don't want all this gobbledygook because it gets in the way and it doesn't make me feel very creative. Okay, so what I do is I create guides. Now, I showed everybody this in the Zoom room yesterday, and some people didn't know it, so I'll do it again here. When you click over this, right, you're going to get up those two arrows. If you want to change the color of those lines, right-click on it. It will bring up a menu, and you're going to get this, okay, and just choose a color. So I'm going to choose red, and then you do the same thing for this one, okay, and change the color first before you start making guides. Otherwise you'll have to go in and change each one, so this just makes it easier. Okay, so we want to stay within this, okay, and within this to make sure our text and our images don't get cut off where we don't want them to. Okay, so I make guides for that. I'm just going to put the guides within this pink line here. Okay, not where this is. This is where they're going to cut it off, right? So I want to stay within this. I could go out to here. The background is going to be fully covering the whole thing. Okay, it needs to be for them to work with it. Otherwise, they will not let you publish it. Okay. Okay. So to create the guides, just come up here, hold down your Control key or Command, I think, in Mac, and then just pull it over to where you want it. So I want it to stop here, and then I'm going to do it on the left side. Hold down my Control key, come over here, and then I'm going to do it with my middle key, Control, and pull it up to here, and again Control, pull it down to here. Okay, so now this is outlined, the whole thing. Now I want to make sure I know where this is, okay, the inside of this, because this is your spine right here, and I'll show you what I do with that. So I want another guide here. So I'm going to hold down my Control key, make another one there, and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so that's good. And then I think I'll make one just for the spine, just in case I want to put text in the middle, so I want those guides there. So I'm going to hold down the Control and just drag it over to here. And do it again on the other side. And I don't really need the middle guide, okay? I know that's going to be in between, so I'm just going to click on it. Don't hold any key down, just click on it and drag it off the screen, and that will get rid of it, so it's not in your way, okay? So now that I have all that set up, I can delete this, okay? Oh wait, before I do, what I want to do is insert a shape, just a rectangle over the barcode location, so I know where that is and I don't put any graphics or text on that, okay? So I'm just going to hold down and I'm going to cover it up. But here it says the size is 2 inches by 1.2 inches. So I want to make sure that it's covering it properly. And I do want to come over to Shape Outline and go No Outline. And when you have it on shape format, So the height is 1.2, right? 1.2, and the width is 2. Okay, so that should fit there perfectly right over the barcode, so we don't go over it with text and graphics if we're doing anything on the back cover. Okay, and then you can delete your cover. Okay, so now you have an outline of where to put your graphics and your text so you don't go over the lines. All right, so I'm just going to drag in. Okay, to build some graphics, I'm going to drag this in because I want this as my cover, my front and back cover. All right, so I'm not going to squish this in because it's going to mess it up. So what I'm going to do is go to picture format and crop. Okay, and I'm just going to pull this in, and I'm going to pull it all the way over here because I want to put a spine. I think I'll put a pink spine there like I did yesterday and go from there. So I'm going to crop it. Okay, and then I'm going to duplicate it because I want it on the other side as well. So you can do Control C, Control V. You can do Control D, which is one less step, and it just duplicates whatever whatever you have selected. Okay, so I'm going to pull this over to there, and I'm going to come up to picture format, rotate, flip, horizontal. So it's the same as over here. If you can see here with the things. Okay, and I'm going to move that to the back because I still want to see this down here. Okay, so oops. Need to move that over there, sorry. Okay, so if you want to put say a spine, okay, go to insert, shapes, and use the rectangle, and just come up here and create your spine. Okay, so I'm going to go to shape format, shape outline, no outline, and I think I want the fill to be pink, like this pink here, so it kind of blends in. So I'm going to come up to shape fill, go to the eyedropper, and choose that pink. Okay, and we could leave it like that. You can make it even bigger if you want. So I'll just cover up these. I kind of like that look with just a little bit, or maybe just cover up the circles. And then I'm going to make sure it's centered. So I'm going to come over to align and center. Excuse me. Now, you want to put graphics in or just text. That's totally up to you. It's a total creative process. So, and I'm going to use these two. Just drag them in. Okay, now this is way too big, so I'm just going to scale it down to where I want it. And I want to use this as the cover. The whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. And I'm going to bring the cupcake, go to picture format, bring to front. Okay, and I'm going to make this smaller, and I'm just going to put it over here. Let's make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay, so I want a bit of a shadow on this because I want it to just stand out a little bit more from the background. Okay, so I'm going to go to picture format and go to picture effects, shadow. And this is good, but let's see. Yeah, when I'm working with shadows and different effects for stuff, I like to right click on it, bring up the menu, and then go to Format Picture down here. It's going to bring up this pane, right? So you can do more when you have this showing instead of just the regular stuff. So, okay, I already put a shadow, and say I want to make it a little bit farther away. So you can play with the distance, the size of it, the blur, as well as the angle. Okay, if you don't want any angle, put it at 0, and it kind of just outlines the whole thing. So I like that. And I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Okay, I'm going to come up here, I'm going to do this. And I don't want this as blurry. And you can actually just use these two. It's a bit easier. So put 4, maybe a little bit more blur. Okay? So it just makes it stand out a bit more, right, from the background. Now I want a title in here, so I'm going to insert a text box. My sweet treats. Okay, and I think I might want to do this. I'm going to center it, and then I'm going to make it bigger, and I have to choose like a thicker font, maybe a Haroni, and just make it bigger. I mean, this is where you can really play too, right, with your fonts, because I know all of you have tons of fonts, right? If you're anything like me, you do. Okay, so, and then just make it fit. I mean, you can make a really nice cover with just the background and some really cool fonts, you know, if you have a great title to put on or something. So I'm going to put that, and I'm going to make the font color brown, like the cupcake. Okay, so I'm going to come up here, go to text fill, come down to the eyedropper, and just click on the brown. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty cool. Maybe make this fit a little bit more. Here we go. Oops. Now, I'm pretty sure this would show up okay on Amazon. Normally, I like to make my titles a little bit more seeable, if you can say that, you know. But that's good for demonstration purposes. Okay. So that would be my cover. I mean, if you want to put something in on the back, like an author bio or something like that, that's pretty easy to do. But because I have a patterned background, and I think the text would show up here okay because it's pink and whites. So if I use that brown text, it would show up fine. But you can also make it a little bit more interesting by inserting a shape. Or I think, yeah, I did this yesterday, right? So I'm going to duplicate this, Control D, and I'm going to use that over here as well. Okay, but I don't want this part in, so I'm going to insert a shape over this area. So I'm going to keep the frame, basically, and then input this. So I'll make it that color. So shape format, that's the color, and no outline. And then I'm just going to move it into place so that it covers. Is that good? Okay, that's good enough for now. Okay, so you want to put an author bio, whatever it is you want to put in there, maybe your logo, something on the back would be good. I'm just going to put a little text box in. Right? So, I mean, you could do pretty much whatever you want here. I'll duplicate that, maybe put that in over here. Right? So, make it even bigger. Now I'm getting hungry. Wouldn't mind having a cupcake. Okay? So, that's a pretty cool cover in a little bit of time, really, without really putting too much thought into it. So if you know what kind of graphics you have and are wanting to work with, get them all together before you start. That, for me anyway, it always makes it easier, right, to come up with something. So this is a pretty cool way to make covers in PowerPoint. So I think I'm going to start doing a little bit more of that. Just to get better used to it and to see what I can do with the graphics, maybe come up with something funky, you know. And that is we were talking, oh yeah, okay, so let me do this. I'm going to create a new file, because yesterday I did the same thing, so. Oh yeah, but I don't want to have to go and do all the, this again, so I'm just going to sorry guys, I'm just going to insert a new slide. Oh, and that's one thing I suggest too. Once you make up these files, right, because we tend to use the same dimensions for our covers when we're creating stuff, like 6x9 with 120 pages, or 8x10, or I always use 8.5x11 for coloring books. So once you've done this up, you could write the dimensions in there, right? So just insert a text box, and you could put in, this is a 6x9 cover, right? So that means your width equals 12.52, and your height equals 9.25, and then put anything else you want to put in there. So you've already got all this set up with your guides, and then just save this and save it as, you know, 6x9 120 page cover template, right? So that just makes it easier for the next time you have to make covers. You already have all these set up. So every time you make a different size cover, create one of these. And it doesn't take long once you get used to doing it. And then you have it ready for next time, right? So I think that's a great idea. Now, somebody was asking yesterday about putting, when you're doing activity books, about putting stuff on the cover. So I do. You know, if I have Sudoku or mazes or coloring pages, I always put them up there. So one way to do it, I'm just going to drag these two files in here, right, is to actually take them, okay, and just, well, I would make them let's do the same size. Let's bring up our selection pane. Okay, I just want to make them a little bit smaller. So you could put a bunch of stuff in, right? Doesn't have to just be 2 pictures. If you have 10 you want to put on the back, you'd have to make them pretty small though, right? So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Format Picture, and I'm going to put a shadow because it just looks really cool when you do on these things, right? So you can make it bigger, smaller, whatever you want to do. Okay, depending on your cover as well, it will depend on how you make the shadow. Okay, so let's do the same thing here and put on a shadow. Cover it a little bit more. There we go. And then you can layer them. I mean, they have to be PNG files to do this, but then you can layer them over each other and it shows up. And we were also talking about colors for activity books. And for myself, yellow, and a couple of people on the call yesterday, yellow is not their favorite color, but it goes really well with red. For some reason, when I'm in Walmart or bookstore, when I look at puzzle books, I tend to be drawn to the ones that are bright primary colors. Not even really bright. I mean, it could be a dark red and a gold kind of yellow, but it draws my eye. So we were talking about that. And they seem to be very simple, right? So you don't even really need a lot of graphics except maybe your puzzles, that are showing. So this was pretty easy to do, and I'm gonna switch it up and make this yellow. Yesterday I made it red, so let's look for a good yellow. Maybe this, or like a more orangey. There we go. I like that. And no outline. And then I'm going to duplicate that and bring it to the bottom. And then I'm going to, I'm going to make a shape under there too in case I want to change it so it'll be easier. So insert, and I'm just going to make this a red. Okay, come over to shape format, no outline, and make it like a deep red. Yeah, I want it even deeper than that, I think. So let's come over here and bring it all the way down to here. Okay, so I like that, right? It draws your eye, and I'm going to send that to the back. Okay, and these I'll make a little bit up like this. Maybe this one all the way down here. Don't want as thick a line down here, so that means I have to extend that, right? So it fits. Yeah, so I kind of like that, actually. And then you could put this, and you can rotate them, right? Put them near the bottom, and then you're going to want to add your text up here. And this is another thing we thought of, because a lot of these books are geared towards kids of a certain age. It might be good to have like something up there. Let's try a different one that says that, right? So a star, something to draw the eye. Let's just get rid of the outline and fill the shape, maybe with red. Nope, that won't work. So maybe with a brighter orange, even a yellow. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and then you just put in a text box, right? I don't like this shape, but whatever. So you could put in for ages, I don't know, 6 to 8, 4 to 6. I mean, whatever niche you're targeting, whatever age group you're targeting, and then just make it bigger. Let's make it 48. Let's draw this out. And I would change up the font and everything else. And here I would probably put in I'll just put in a shadow because everything else has one. Okay, so yeah, I don't like this at all, but whatever. You can figure that out. You can come up with your own. So that type of coloring book or puzzle book makes a lot of sense. And if you have coloring pages, put them on the back. Do the same thing. Add a bit of a shadow to them. And mazes, the same thing, right? So, and then, yeah, see, this has to be a lot smaller. Put it over there. See, it's going to bug me. I'm such a perfectionist, even just for a demonstration. I want to do it properly, you know. That's a little better. And then, yeah, just here, do in yellow or white so the text does stand out. Sudoku puzzles for kids, or whatever your title is going to be, right? And that's pretty much it. I thought I would just throw that cover in because we did talk about it yesterday. Okay, and then, I didn't put this in here. Before you save this, make sure you only have one cover, by the way. Okay, you don't want to save this as a PDF because you're going to end up with two covers in the same PDF, and that won't work. So just get rid of one, or, you know, it's a big deal. And then you make sure you get rid of that as well. Okay, because you don't want to save that one with that there. And then you just go to File, Save As, PDF, and you'll be good to go.